In Renaissance Italy, a world of silk gowns, burning candles, and secret corridors, there is one love story historians whisper about. A story erased from archives, buried by powerful families, and remembered only through two bodies found lying side by side. Both of them dead. Both poisoned. Both holding the same rare flower that didn't grow anywhere near their city. Some say it was murder. Some say it was a suicide pact. But the truth is far darker. This is the forbidden, tragic, intoxicating story of the poisoned lovers of Renaissance Italy. The year is 1524. Florence is alive with music and chaos, merchants shouting in narrow streets, church bells cutting through the morning air, and noble families building fortunes through marriages arranged like chess moves. Inside this world of power and politics lived Lady Isabella de Rossi, a young noblewoman known for her intelligence, elegance, and a calmness that made people underestimate her. She moved like a quiet fire, soft on the outside, lethal on the inside. She belonged to a powerful household. And she was engaged to a man she did not love, a marriage arranged to merge two wealthy families. The wedding would mean more land, more gold, more influence, and absolutely no happiness, but fate, as always, never followed the rules. Across the Arno River, in a district far less polished and far more alive, lived Lorenzo Ferrante, a scholar and apothecary's apprentice. Not born into privilege, but born with curiosity, wit, and an infuriatingly beautiful smile. He studied rare plants, wrote poetry no one knew about, and spent long nights sketching flowers in candlelight. The first time Isabella saw him, it wasn't planned. Her family was visiting a merchant one afternoon when she stepped away from the group, drawn by the smell of crushed lavender drifting through an open window. She followed it into a small herbal apothecary, and there he was. Lorenzo. Sleeves rolled up. Hands stained with powdered petals. Eyes bright with that spark only people who love knowledge possess. He looked up at her, surprised. Noblewomen rarely wandered into such places. But instead of bowing or panicking, he simply said, "Careful, my lady, some scents can be addictive." She laughed, not politely, but genuinely. A sound she hadn't heard from her own lips in years. And that laugh, that moment, became the beginning of everything. From that day, Isabella found excuses to return. To buy herbs. To ask questions she already knew answers to. To listen to him talk about colors, poisons, cures, and stars. Lorenzo, too, knew the danger. Noblewomen and apprentices did not mix. But he couldn't stop himself. In her presence, he felt seen, understood, and alive in ways the world never gave him. They met in secret. In hidden gardens. Behind shuttered windows. Across letters exchanged through a trusted maid. Those letters still survive, locked in a private collection. Written in the curling ink of the Renaissance, they reveal a love so raw, so fearless, that historians describe them as too powerful to be fiction. "I do not care for a life of duty," Isabella wrote. "I want a life with breath, with warmth, with you." But Florence was not kind to lovers. Especially lovers who broke the rules. Whispers grew. Her fiancé, Lord Giuliano, a man of ambition and jealousy, began to notice her absences. Servants reported seeing her slipping away. Rumors spread through the palaces like wildfire. And in Renaissance Italy, rumors were as deadly as poisons. Giuliano confronted her one night, not with anger, but with a cold smile. "You will marry me," he said. "Or your apothecary will never see another sunrise." That was the moment Isabella knew. Love was no longer a secret. It was a death sentence. She ran to Lorenzo's workshop that night, breathless, terrified, shaking. He held her as she cried, and in that moment, both knew there was no turning back. They made a plan. They would leave Florence. Run to Venice. Start a life where titles didn't matter and families couldn't reach them. But fate fate has a cruel sense of timing. The night before their planned escape, Lorenzo went to fetch one last ingredient, a herb used to calm anxiety. He kept a careful inventory, so he immediately noticed something wrong. A jar was missing. A very specific jar. It contained Aconitum belladonna. A rare, deadly poison that killed slowly, disguising itself as illness. Then he realized something worse. Giuliano had been seen entering the street outside earlier that day. Lorenzo sprinted to warn Isabella. But he was too late. When he reached her chamber, she was already sitting on the floor, dizzy, pale, breath shallow. A cup of wine lay spilled nearby. She whispered. He said. I belong only to him. Lorenzo lifted her in his arms, heartbreaking, realizing the poison had already taken root. But there was something Giuliano had not known. Lorenzo wasn't just an apprentice. He was one of the best herbal minds of his generation. And he knew something about belladonna that most did not. There was a way to slow it down. By consuming the same poison. But in a controlled dose. If he took it, their bodies would react at the same time. Their organs would slow together. Their heartbeats would fall into the same rhythm. It wouldn't save them. But it would let them die together. Isabella cried as she realized what he was doing. No, please. Lorenzo, don't follow me into death. He smiled, not in tragedy, but in peace. My love, you taught me how to live. Let me teach you how to die without fear. He took the poison. Held her hand. Laid beside her on the cold stone floor. Witnesses said they were found at dawn. Curled into each other. Breathing their last as sunlight touched their faces. But here's the part historians still debate. Both bodies were clutching the same flower. The blue star lily, a plant that grew nowhere in Florence. Where did it come from? Why was it in their hands? Some believe Lorenzo placed it there. Some believe Isabella had kept it hidden as a symbol of their secret love. Some believe it was a sign, something spiritual, something beyond the living world. Their families tried to erase the story. Burned letters, censored records, destroyed portraits. But they forgot one thing. Love stories don't die. People tell them. Whisper them. Pass them down until they become legend. And today, hundreds of years later, in Florence's old district, there is a saying. If two lovers pass the apothecary at midnight and smell crushed lavender in the wind, Lorenzo and Isabella are near. A love too powerful to survive the world. A world too cruel to let them live. And a tragedy too beautiful to ever be forgotten.